Good afternoon, New Orleans, or wherever you may be. It's Wednesday at 4 o'clock, so we are Baldy and The Blonde coming to you for the next hour.
Yes, here we are. Hi,
Again,
Tom.
That week rolls around so fast, and then we panic and figure out, what are we going to do?
What are we doing?
It's like, well, it's on the calendar every week.
Yes.
We should not be caught by surprise.
And yet here we are.
And yet we're always caught by surprise.
Why not?
Not ready. But this week...
Oh, no, we're ready.
This week, we scrambled to get ready.
Yeah.
So it ties into what we talked about last week. So why don't you please bring us up to speed?
I will. Anybody that's been following the Charlie Kirk assassination knows that Candace Owens and many others have introduced this idea into the zeitgeist, really, that you can go look on Google Trends to see what sort of searches were made surrounding a high-profile event way before it happened. Okay, so in the Kirk case, of course, we've covered that extensively, and she has, and so has many others, that they were searching for hospitals and doctors months in advance before he was shot. So Tom, Mr. Baldy, to you all, got at the idea that, well, let's apply that method and see what searches were being conducted surrounding the events of the New Year's Eve terrorist attack in New Orleans, which we both think has gone widely unreported. And like most big events, they give us a real blasé, quick answer. It was one guy acting alone. He's a nut. That's it. It's rarely true. So anyway, Tom, last week we covered extensively searches that he looked up on Google Trends, which basically means you go to trends.google.com and type in something and see where people have searched for various terms. And for example...
Well, put it this way. You search if anybody has searched for that.
Yes.
And if anybody has, you can pinpoint at least to the country and sometimes a city where the search has come from.
And it seems that there's a lot of Google searches concerning New Orleans coming from caves in Afghanistan. I mean, why not?
Well, I don't know about if they're caves. Google Trends
Don't
isn't
ruin my
that
joke.
specific.
That's my joke.
It doesn't
please.
say the Flintstones.
Well, caves in Afghanistan is what I'm saying. Anyway, so for example, as you all know, or maybe you don't know, the sort of the linchpin of the New Orleans terrorist attack was the ability of the terrorist Shamsuddin Jabbar to find a parking space for his 20-foot truck in the French Quarter
on New Year's
Eve.
Which is impossible.
Yes, it's completely impossible. Yet, it turns out that there were searches from Afghanistan, Egypt, Iran, Israel, United Arab Emirates, United Kingdom, and Washington, D.C. concerning things such as Shamsuddin Jabbar, New Orleans rental truck. Where's the one about the parking? Here's another one. Shamsuddin Jabbar Sugar Bowl. That's normal. Parking in the French Quarter. Park a truck in the French Quarter. Lots of guys in Egypt need to know that. French Quarter parking. Shamsuddin Jabbar parallel parking.
Okay, that one is crazy.
That is just off the charts, insane. Because sure, you could, I guess, say that somebody in, I don't know, Iran was thinking about coming to the French Quarter and needs to know how to parallel park, whatever. But for someone to literally search, and that's just not just one, but searches from Afghanistan, Egypt, Iran, Israel, UAE, United Kingdom, and Washington, D.C. for the specific terms, Shamsuddin Jabbar parallel parking. It's off the charts crazy.
Nuts. That's a small sample of the things that we talked about last week.
So tell them where they can find the entire show.
Well, you can go to baldyandtheblonde.com and go to the show for last week, which was December 3rd, 2025.
Correct. And you will be able to hear it commercial-free. All of our shows are there. And it's really, really fascinating and beyond bizarre.
But wait, there's more.
Oh, yeah, there's plenty more. You want me? You mean you're going to go into the new stuff?
Into the new stuff?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, and right, there's a lot more.
Yes, there's a lot more last week.
For last week, we did the entire show way, way, way more than what Michelle was just reading.
Yeah, the whole show.
And then to supplement what we did last week, I continued those searches to see what else I could find. Now, last week, besides the things that Michelle was just talking about, a lot of people in the Middle East and Washington, D.C., and also the United Kingdom, besides searching those terms that you were just talking about and some others, they there's a specific business.
Yep.
They took a great interest in Vertimart.
Yep.
Down at the corner of Governor Nichols and Royal Street. The reason that intersection, that I was interested in that intersection and Vertimart, was because the FBI said that Shamsuddin Jabbar, after parking his truck, went to the corner. He didn't say the corner. He said the area of Governor Nichols Street and Royal Street. Well, there's nothing there except Vertimart.
Right, and you can walk from Rampart, for non-New Orleanians, we're talking about streets in the French Quarter. Rampart Street is one of the border streets. He parked allegedly around there somewhere.
Pretty close to there.
And walked on Governor Nichols all the way to the Vertimart, which is nearly to Decatur Street.
Which is the other edge.
The other end of the quarter.
Okay, so
and there's just no businesses there. It's mostly a residential area.
Right.
I know out-of-town people, y'all think the French Quarter is all Bourbon Street, but it is not. It's, in fact, a neighborhood. So.
Okay, so a lot of people in a lot of countries took a lot of interest in searching a lot of details about Vertimart, its owners,
bizarre.
and a lot of things that appear on the Secretary of State's website about that business.
Yeah.
Addresses of the owners. That's very strange.
Looking up the owners, their addresses, just all kinds of, the charter number of the business. Yeah, it's crazy.
Right. Yeah, not only searching for the charter, they put in the charter number in their search.
Yes, as a search.
Okay, so I didn't have any more time before last week's show to see what they did for other businesses in the French Quarter. But now I have, and that's what we're going to talk about.
And these are not
today.
just other businesses. These are businesses that he took his route.
Yeah. I'll get to the details. So the first thing I did was, we know he parked his truck based on video evidence and timelines and photos that the FBI has released. We know he parked either on Governor Nichols up by Rampart or on a side street very, very close to Governor Nichols. And then he walked from there down to Royal Street. That's what we're told by the FBI, and is supported by video evidence. Right. So what I did is first of all, I have personally walked his entire route a few times and videoed myself doing it, taking measurements, that sort of thing, to see how plausible or implausible the story was. Turns out it's implausible.
Yeah, and that was a long time ago. You did, way before we discovered this Google Trends thing. Yeah.
But then, because I'm lazy at heart, I didn't feel like going back down there. I used Google Earth. Also because anybody who's not in the country and can't walk it, they would do the same thing.
That's what they're going to do.
So what I did was I started at Rampart and Governor Nichols, and I went on Google Earth, and I went all the way down to Decatur. And I told myself, okay, I'm going to Google every sign. I'm going to go to Google Trends and see if anybody Googled any sign that appears on that route along Governor Nichols.
You mean a sign of a business?
Any kind of sign. Any kind of a sign that's not a street sign, a stop or one way or no parking or whatever. Well, there are no businesses until you get to Vertimart. All the way down, you have to go all the way from Rampart all the way into Royal, which is almost all the way, not almost all the way across the
it's
border,
about 8
but pretty
blocks,
close.
Right? About 8 blocks.
And there's no businesses, but there's only 2 signs that appear on Google Earth. One of them is a temporary sign, and another one is a sign that's on a building, but is not the name of a business. Where it gets interesting, the only signs are, one of them, it's the Roman numeral 4. I'm going to read it as IV, okay? It says, keep IV waste New Orleans. Now, we know what that means.
We do.
That's the Sidney Torres, the 4th, garbage trucks that have the big Roman numeral 4 on them.
Out of towners, that refers to a local waste management company, which has a name. It's called IV Waste, meaning the 4th, but IV.
Right. Okay. So somebody Googled that sign.
Yes.
Keep IV Waste New Orleans. They Googled it out of Afghanistan.
Of course.
Iran, United Arab Emirates a few times, and Washington, D.C. Very strange that anybody would Google that, but they saw it. They were intrigued, trying to figure out, okay, what is this?
Well, they saw it on.
Like.
We're assuming that they saw it by looking at his route that he was probably planning to take.
Or
they're scouting the territory. He also, remember, I just thought of this. He also used those glasses, those Google glasses, and maybe he sent his prep video, to other people who then
That's possible
I just thought of that. Yeah.
But it's interesting. Again, there's only 2 signs on that whole stretch of Governor Nichols.
I know,
that being
it's crazy.
one. I looked to see, did anybody Google the term Governor Nichols Street, Rampart Street, New Orleans? And the answer is yes, from Afghanistan, Egypt, and Israel. And then that sign I just mentioned. And then I just went to see, did they also Google Keep IV Waste, Governor Nichols Street, French Quarter? Got very specific. And yes, out of Afghanistan, Egypt, Israel, United Kingdom, and Washington, D.C. Very, very specific searches.
Probably looking to hire a good waste disposal company in those countries, right?
And we will get to a lot more
Yes.
In the next couple of segments following this break. Michelle, get us out of here,
Yes,
please.
indeed. We are Baldy and the Blonde. You can check us out at baldyandtheblonde.com. We have a new radio show Facebook page, which I will encourage you to go to. And you can get all of our old shows at baldyandtheblonde.com. And we will be right back after the break. Hey, welcome back, New Orleans and everywhere else. This is Baldy and the Blonde. We are here discussing the bizarre searches conducted on Google, which are very specific to the terrorist attack in New Orleans in the French Quarter on January 1st, 2025. These are not things you would expect to be Googled in Afghanistan or Iran or Egypt, in the months leading up to the terrorist attack. We got the idea, of course, because that's been something that's been done in Charlie Kirk's case. And it turns out, who knows what else it's been done in, but it's certainly interesting, the information Tom has found. And by the way, let me just caution you, I don't know, Tom, if this is still going on, but in the beginning when Tom would find something really interesting, he would take a screenshot of his results so that, we would have proof that we actually found that. And plenty of times when we would go back and try to replicate the result, it would be gone.
Oh, yeah.
What's going on with that now?
In the matter of Charlie Kirk?
Yeah.
All that stuff I found, and I found a lot, it was all scrubbed within 12 hours.
Yeah, because you found a lot in addition. I don't remember which show that was. We have to kind of earmark that. But Tom did things that Candace Owens had not done.
Yeah. I did above and beyond what anybody else had
sure.
done. I discovered searches going back to 2018 for the name of the alleged shooter.
Tyler Robinson, yeah.
Coming out of Israel.
Yep.
And I screenshotted all that stuff, and 12 hours later, the next morning, all of it was gone. Maybe there was like one or two remnants, and then a couple of days later, that was all gone. Now, in the first segment, I should have clarified. The searches that I did in relation to the Bourbon Street terrorist, I isolated my search for the second half of 2024.
Right.
So July 1st to December 31st, 2024. And I searched for the countries Afghanistan, Egypt, Iran, Israel, United Arab Emirates, United Kingdom, and Washington, D.C.
Right.
Because all of those are, none of those are our allies, especially Washington, D.C.
Right.
And that's not to say that searches weren't conducted from anywhere else. I just went for these. I only had so much time.
Yeah.
And went for these countries.
So let's go to the juice, the red meat.
Okay, so just real quick before we get to the businesses, I wanted to mention there was one other sign on that whole stretch of Governor Nichols.
Yeah.
And it was, now the other one, the about the waste management, that was a temporary sign. They're Googling temporary signs.
Let me just explain that real quick so that somebody's listening and they're like, what are they talking about? There was a dispute about what waste management company should be used in the French Quarter. The name of the one that this person who put the sign up is IV Waste, refers to a guy named Sidney Torres IV. His company is called IV Waste, and people were debating which company should stay. And so there were signs in the quarter that said, keep IV Waste, or whatever it said. And what did it say? Whatever.
That.
So that's what he's done. The searcher from Afghanistan, etc., saw that sign along with the Verdi Mart sign and one other one that Tom's going to discuss, and did those searches well in advance of the terrorist attack. Of course, that had nothing to do with anything, but it just shows you what they're doing is searching all signs on the path he was going to take.
Now, the only other sign on Governor Nichols between Rampart and Royal,
right,
is a permanent sign on a building, but it's not a business name. It's one of those tile signs that appears in some of the buildings in the quarter.
Very historic looking, very old.
Now, the sign itself says Calais del Hospital, which means Street of the Hospital, which maybe Governor Nichols was once called that in the days under Spanish rule.
Yeah, maybe so.
But if you look at that sign on Google Earth, the del, you can't see it. It's blurred out. It's not there. So I thought, if somebody's relying on Google Earth and they want to Google Calais Hospital, assuming that this is a real sign maybe they're not sure what the sign
Right.
really is, and they think it's okay. I want to just know more about everything there. Did anybody Google Calais Hospital, New Orleans, which doesn't exist, right? And so I looked at Calais Hospital, New Orleans, and Calais Hospital, French Quarter, Calais being Calle, and the answer is yes, out of Egypt, Iran, Israel, United Kingdom many times, and Washington, D.C. a few times.
I mean,
for a hospital that doesn't exist.
Yeah, and it just absolutely proves that you know, in a case that would be serious proof, because it shows that they Googled what they saw on their visual search with Google Earth.
That's what it looks like.
I mean, it certainly does. Not to say, listen, as always, Tom and I say, we talk about a lot of crazy things because they're crazy, but it doesn't mean they're not true. But we just don't know.
Right.
We're just telling you what our research has found. And, you know, who knows?
And then one final thing regarding that particular sign is when you look at Google Earth, that sign appears next to an address. I'm not going to repeat the address.
Right.
But then I went to see, did anybody Google that address?
Of course.
So I put in X address, Governor Nichols Street, New Orleans. Okay? So say it's 999, it's not. Say, so 999, Governor Nichols Street, New Orleans. And the answer is yes, that was Googled out of Afghanistan, Egypt, United Arab Emirates, and the United Kingdom.
Totally nuts.
So in other words, those are the only signs before you get to Vertimart, and people were Googling that sign, those two signs, quite a bit. Next we get to, because of all the interest in Vertimart, I thought, okay, maybe there was a lot of interest in businesses on Bourbon Street, particularly at the intersection of Bourbon and Orleans. The reason I focused on that, one is there's not too many businesses until you get to Orleans. I mean, there's some when you get to St. Peter and all that. But he left the first cooler bomb very close to the intersection of Bourbon. He left it on Bourbon, close to Orleans, between Orleans and St. Peter.
Yep.
Close to Orleans. So there's 4 businesses at that intersection. There's Crazy Corner, spelled with K's in the Crazy and Corner. There is Maison Bourbon. There is Cat's Meow. And there's one, I'm not sure the official name of the business, but their sign says, actually, I don't have, Cornet New Orleans Cuisine.
Okay.
So that's the only thing I could search because I don't know the business name. But really, I think I just was Googling to see if somebody was Googling what's on those signs. Those are the 4 businesses at that intersection. It turns out there was a lot of Googling about those businesses, the addresses of those businesses, the owners' names that appear on the Secretary of State website, or not owners, but the officers' names, and the officers' addresses. Now we'll get into some specifics. They not only Googled the names of those businesses, but they did it in conjunction with the name of the terrorist. In other words, they put the name of the terrorist and the name of the business in the same Google search.
And the terrorist name is not Joe Smith.
Yeah,
Shamsud
it's very specific.
Din Jabbar.
Shamsud Din Jabbar. So here's the first thing I searched for. I took Crazy Corner as my first search because that's there's a camera there. They have a webcam that's out front that captures would have captured everything that this guy was doing
but we haven't seen it.
But we haven't seen it.
Of course.
I don't want to say it captured everything, but a lot of it. So I went to search, look to see, did anybody search for Shamsud Din Jabbar, Crazy Corner Balcony, New Orleans?
No way.
And I got that specific. Now, in the first case, I misspelled the business name Corner and spelled it correctly with a C. I didn't mean to, but that's what I did. And that was searched out of Egypt, Iran, Israel, United Arab Emirates, and Washington, D.C. Now we're down to our last 45 seconds.
There's just no rational explanation.
No, there's not. Then I did the same search term, but this time I spelled corner with a K, like it's on the sign, and that was searched out of Afghanistan, Egypt, Iran, United Arab Emirates, Washington, D.C., and then on a hunch, I just put in Alabama. I'll explain why later, and that was searched out of Alabama as well. And that's just one of 3 businesses. We have a lot more to go over after the long break. Michelle, you want to take us into this break, and then we'll come back in a few minutes.
This is crazy time here with Baldy and the Blonde. and crazy Google searches, all surrounding the New Orleans terrorist attack. We cannot think of one rational explanation, but maybe you can. Welcome back to Baldy and the Blonde, where we are dissecting bizarre Google searches made regarding the New Year's Eve terrorist attack in New Orleans, in the French Quarter, on Bourbon Street. And it turns out that in a similar vein to the bizarre searches done in advance of Charlie Kirk's murder, similar crazy searches were done surrounding the terrorist attack in New Orleans well in advance of that attack from bizarre places that you would not expect people to be searching for how to park a 20-foot car in New Orleans in Afghanistan months before the attack. And you would not be expecting the searches to surround the businesses that the terrorists walked past. And remember, he scouted the area before he did it. They found that he had Google eyeglasses on and was taking videos throughout the quarter and mapping out his strategy in advance. And apparently people were very interested in making sure they knew all about the businesses that he would pass. We think. Who knows? But that it was searched. Go ahead, Tom. Tom, you need to pick it up.
All right.
I'm going to tell y'all, we have so much, he has found so many bizarre searches, I got to think of a new word, that we're just not going to get through it, so you got to talk faster.
All right, so
or skip, consolidate.
The last business we left off at was Crazy Corner, because it's one of the four businesses at the corner of Orleans Street and Bourbon Street, where the terrorists left that first bomb. Somebody Googled the name of the terrorist in conjunction with the last name of all the officers listed on the Secretary of State site for that business.
That's so crazy. So, like, let's just say the owner of the business is Joe Brown. The Google search was Shamsu Din Jabbar, Joe Brown.
Yeah. Now, the Secretary of State doesn't list owners, but they list officers. The owner's probably in there.
President.
But then, they did that with the last name. And then they also Googled Shamsu Din Jabbar and then the first and last name of the primary officer. I'm not reading the name.
Really crazy.
They did. And then, let's see. Oh, somebody even Googled the address of the officers for that business. There's one address listed on the Secretary of State site for the officers of that business, and somebody in the Middle East, Washington, D.C., was Googling that address.
What could that possibly mean?
I don't know.
I try to always think of what would the other side say.
I could come up with it, but I'm not going to say what. I'm not going to give any theory. That way, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Because I'm not purporting a theory.
Take that tin.
Well, I'm not going to. No, I could. That would take 10 shows to come up with a good theory. I'm not doing that.
No, I'm actually just being a smartass because it's just crazy on its face.
No, it is, but to why someone would do all this, it's a crazy explanation. I'm not going.
I mean, the simplest is the obvious, which is it's planning.
Well, yeah,
obviously.
Well, also though, it's why would you put the terrorist's name with here's an example.
Name of the business owner.
Cat's Meow is another one of the businesses down there. Somebody Googled the name of the terrorist, followed by Cat's Meow, New Orleans. What is that?
All right, so let's just be real clear. That means that someone Googled Shamsu Din Jabbar, Cat's Meow, New Orleans.
Correct.
That was the search.
That was in October, a few months before the event, and they also Googled some addresses, many searches for the address that's listed on the Secretary of State site for Cat's Meow, and it is not the address for Cat's Meow. It's a very specific address on Poydras with a suite number and all that. Somebody's Googling that.
It's crazy.
And now
I want to explain what that means. So a business is incorporated. The documentation at the Secretary of State may not match their physical location. And what you're saying is their legal business location, which was different than Bourbon Street, was Googled from bizarre countries.
Yes, and then there's also an address for a crappy little place in Fort Worth, Texas. When I say crappy little place, it's a business that people probably pay to list as a mailing address for them.
Yeah.
It's not a P.O. box. It's a physical address in Fort Worth, Texas. I Google Earth that. It's a crappy little building that's probably just hires itself out to be a mailing address.
Right.
Somebody from the Middle East was Googling that address because that's listed as the mailing address for Cat's Meow, even though it's in Fort Worth, and people are Googling that out of the Middle East. Let's see. Next is, they Googled the name of the terrorist in conjunction with the only officer listed for Cat's Meow. They Googled the name of the terrorist and the name of the officer in this one Google search, just like they did
With
for the other businesses
yes,
that we've talked about.
They've done it with each one.
Yes.
And, but what would you possibly get? How are you looking to see if there's a connection?
They're looking to if it were me.
That's only
it
explanation.
It would be because I want to see, is there any association of any kind between this guy and that business?
Yep.
Be
interesting.
Because, as you know, in the law, I've done a lot of investigation.
Yes.
And a lot of it is fruitless because you don't know what you're looking for till you start finding it. But then one nugget leads to another.
That's right.
And so the more you search for, and a lot of it's fruitless, but then you can hit the jackpot, as you know.
I've
hit the jackpot so much so. Right, that it absolutely turns a case and wins it.
Turns a case and wins.
Because you just look and look and look, not even know what you're looking for. And these could be searches they don't even know what they're looking for. They're just looking to see what might pop up. Then you search that and see what might pop up there. But they're looking for any association, it appears, between the terrorist and that. And actually, a good section of the French Quarter, not just one or two businesses. One of the other businesses at that corner of Bourbon and Orleans is Maison Bourbon. That's what it says on the sign. And details about that business were searched from Egypt, United Kingdom, Washington, D.C., Afghanistan. Oh, and again, they searched the name of the terrorist, Shamsuddin Jabbar, in conjunction with the officers of that company.
Jeez. They
also Googled the address, which is in Arabic, the address that's listed on the Secretary of State site for that company. Again, it's an Arabic address. It has nothing to do with Bourbon Street or the French Quarter.
Nothing.
And they're Googling that.
So that means they got that information from the Secretary of State site and Googled it that way.
Yes.
From Afghanistan.
I turned the page. I'm not sure what
think
countries.
it doesn't matter.
It was Egypt, the UK, Washington D.C., and Alabama actually.
Oh yeah.
There's
weird. You had said to remind you about Alabama.
Oh, because I had an idea on Alabama because there was some weird searches out of Huntsville for Charlie Kirk. So I went real quick on only a couple of these searches. I wanted to see did Alabama pop up, and it did in some of these. Now, there's one business left at that intersection. I don't know the business name. I just know what the sign says. The sign says Cornet New Orleans Cuisine, and it's in front of that building that they left the first cooler bomb. Actually, just a few feet from their front door, literally just a couple steps from their front door. The words that appear on that sign, Cornet New Orleans Cuisine, was Googled out of Afghanistan, Iran, Israel, and the United Arab Emirates. And then the search term Shamsuddin Jabbar Cornet New Orleans Cuisine was also Googled out of Afghanistan, Iran, United Arab Emirates, and Alabama. Okay, so now that's the businesses at the corner of Bourbon and Orleans where he left the first cooler bomb. He left the second cooler bomb near the intersection of Bourbon and Toulouse. The FBI didn't say where, but just somewhere down there.
Yeah. I just want to interrupt it. Coolers are ice chests, y'all. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Well, and we call them cooler bombs as we're talking about them. Which, by the way, you got to see our video to know why it was. It's a BS story that he left those bombs and didn't have an accomplice.
Yeah, y'all need to go look. It's on our YouTube channel. There's a 3-minute video that starts, and it tracks him, and he's in it. And you can see what we're talking about, and it raises a ton of questions. It looks like he's waving at and talking, like signaling to somebody.
He's clearly waving at somebody.
And getting orders. Visually, with what little bit of evidence they've released, it's really worth your time to look at it, especially we're coming up on the year anniversary, which we will have a special about that.
All right, the second ice chest cooler bomb that he left was at or near the corner of Bourbon and Toulouse. I had time before the show to look up only one business there. The sign on that business just says Funky 544. Okay?
Okay.
And so I went to see, did anybody Google Shamsuddin Jabbar Funky 544?
Come on.
Yes, they did. And a lot from Egypt, Iran, Israel, United Arab Emirates, and United Kingdom. And then for that business on the Secretary of State site, there's only one officer listed. And did somebody Google Shamsuddin Jabbar, insert name of the officer? Yeah, they did. A lot. Afghanistan, Iran, and Washington, D.C. And on some of these, I had to hurry up because there's a lot to cover. On some of these, there was a ton of searches. Others, we don't really know how many. But even one search, when it's that specific name of the terrorist and the name of a business owner. But on some of these,
crazy.
There was a lot, dozens of searches.
And we're so at this point, between last week and this week, we're up to about 50 searches that are inexplicable, having been made with the terrorist name or something that was very specific to the attack, well in advance of the attack. And there's just no good, explanation for it. Again, we're not here to answer it because we don't know, but, we might come up with something, and maybe you will. So, again, our methodology is trends.google.com. And you can, it's a little more specific than that. I'm not going over all the details again. But you can see what people have searched for in the past and pinpoint countries, et cetera. So I think Tom has just done an amazing job on this. And
well, let me interject this. They say, do not try this at home. This is the opposite. Try this at home. Go do it yourself.
Go do it.
Google.com. Yeah. Make sure you just put your search term in quotes. That helps.
That makes it more specific.
And then you pick out a time frame you want. You can customize it.
Yes.
And then put in whatever search term you want from wherever you want.
I'm sure it's obvious, but obviously we stopped the search before January 1st. Okay? So anyway, this is Baldy and the Blonde. We'll be back. You can catch all of our old shows, including all the shows about this and the video on baldyandtheblonde.com.
Welcome back to the Baldy and the Blonde Show. I'm Tom Coates with Michelle Godin. Together we are Baldy and the Blonde. We're here every Wednesday at 4, and you can listen to all of our old shows through our YouTube channel, which you can get to all of those easily at baldyandtheblonde.com. If you missed the first 3 segments, we will let you off with a warning. But you're going to want to go back and listen to them, right, Michelle?
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
And the show of last week.
It's shocking.
They tie in together. No need to rehash it now, but you're just going to want to go back and listen to it. Now, switching gears.
Yes.
You had a topic that you wanted to talk about.
I do.
And I'm just going to throw it your way and let you go.
I don't really want to, but immigration and illegal invasion of our country is a big topic right now, especially in New Orleans, because we are currently the target of ICE enforcement of the law. You'd never know that, but it is the law to deport illegal aliens. And the problem is that doesn't get enough coverage, in my view, is how did we get here? Well, let's see. Dementia Joe, for 4 years, invited people and opened the borders and allowed between, the New York Times is pretending it's 3 million, but credible sources are much more like between 10, 15, and 20 million.
I hadn't heard that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Unvetted. We don't know who they are. We don't know where they come from. While you were being forced to get vaccines and, be an experimental lab rat, they were let right on in, come right in. Come to find out, one of the reasons we have a housing crisis for young people in this country who cannot buy houses is because where are those 10 to 20 million people going? Well, it turns out that they are in American housing, and quite often we're paying for it. American taxpayers. The scandal in Minnesota is of epic proportions. Billions of dollars stolen from American people for Somalians who have added nothing to this country on the whole and have sucked up our hard-earned tax dollars. So against that backdrop, it also should be noted that there's a lot of NGOs that
non-governmental organizations.
Yes, sorry. Elon Musk has allowed free speech, so now we can find out a lot of this stuff. Plus, his Doge group was beginning to really uncover the slush funds that this country apparently rests upon. And it turns out that a lot of millions and millions of dollars are being funneled into what are called NGOs, and they are being used to subvert the United States of America by invasion, okay? And
you mean we're paying for our own demise?
Yes, exactly.
Correct. Never heard that one before.
That is
this
correct.
is just This is just chapter 984 of the same story.
It's just always the same damn thing, always. And, there's allegations that, for example, with the Somali community, there's, money being first it was 100 million, then it was 400, but now it's billions stolen from America for a parasitical community of whiners. And why did you come here?
Yeah, right.
This is a land of the free, teetering on the edge, thanks due to the left.
To take
losers.
the money.
Yeah, to take the money. That's it. And, I would like to know from all the people that think immigration law should be flaunted, what is your solution? Because when Biden opened the doors to this country and gave those people vast freedom, flew them everywhere. And by the way, Martha's Vineyard, that lasted one day.
Yeah, right.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, I think it was less than 24 hours.
Lefty capital of the world. Yeah, thanks. Okay, bye.
Yeah, gotta go.
And put them up in 4-star hotels and everything else under the sun, living the life of luxury. Not a single lefty had anything to say about what are we going to do about this invasion. We don't know who they are, where they came from. They come from failed states where there literally is no paper, okay? And none of these people are here legally. And so you know what's going to happen at the end of the day. Now, they're picking up people in New Orleans, for example. Everybody's going to know somebody they feel sorry about.
Sure.
And because, of course, honestly, the people that have been here 20 years, you're going to feel probably a little different than the people that were swarmed in the last 4 years and are living on the dole. But what are we supposed to do about it? And why weren't you thinking, why did you think it was okay to open the borders? What did you think was going to happen? Oh, we need legislation. No bull, because Trump, here's what he did in 3 weeks. And I'll put up with any crap from the orange man because he did this. He closed the doors. And guess what? It worked. And guess what? We didn't need any new legislation. Just needed to enforce the law on the books.
Well, and I know when you say Biden did that, I know you don't actually mean
Kamala.
Biden did it, but Biden's handlers, because Biden couldn't do
exactly.
anything. But yes,
using the term like Kleenex for tissue.
It's shorthand for whoever was actually running this show.
The auto pen, President Auto Pen, which is apparently
right.
Pocahontas, Kamala, Jill, Dr. Jill to you.
But you raised a good point. Like, what did you expect would happen? Like that there wouldn't be some kind of pushback when there's and I had not heard, but it was between what did you say, 10 and 20.
Oh yeah,
New York Times said 3. I mean, I knew it was a lot. I didn't know anybody had put that kind of a number on it. I'm not shocked by it, but so the New York Times is now that it's safe for them to say it.
Yes.
Now they're saying, well, look at all these people who streamed across.
Yes, 1 year after Biden's.
Where were they when it was happening?
They wrote their first article raising the point that, gee, maybe this wasn't a good idea.
Maybe not.
Right?
Okay, but
but I do want to bring up the Pope.
Oh, go ahead.
I am disgusted,
Go.
disgusted by him. And I highly recommend you read an article called "The Pope's War on Christendom: His Islamic Fantasy versus Europe's Bloody Reality." And y'all know we cover what's going on in England, where the free speech has been obliterated for the native people versus the invaders who can do whatever they want. Literally, I had a video today, a lady being arrested because she was advocating for the ability to sing Christian songs in the street. Now, this is the same place where at 3 a.m. you have to listen, la la la, Akbar. No, I'm sorry. That's ridiculous. Anyway, so the Pope was asked, do you believe that Islam is a threat to Christianity? Of course it is. It has been for thousands of years. One need only know the slightest bit of history to know that.
That's a pretty straightforward question and answer.
Yes, and his answer was basically that he dismissed the concerns by claiming that the Europeans' fears are, quote, created by people who are against immigration. Quote, what? I can't even say. So these are the
What are their fears really created by?
They're created by attacks, bloody attacks, and violence against Christians in Europe, including Bataclan, including the concerts, including the Nice truck driving down the street, including the rape of women in all of the Norwegian, Swedish areas, and the coddling of the Muslim terrorists. And I'd love to be in on the meetings where they decided that this was a great idea to end Western civilization. I don't understand it, but it's, you don't have to speculate to see what's been going on. So at the end of the day, he brought up Lebanon, said it was a great model of coexistence where Lebanon went from 80% Christian to, I think, 10. He's talking about dialogue. Well, dialogue with the priest whose head was literally chopped off during Mass in France. Jewish children need armed guards to go to school. Christians in Nigeria, Egypt, Iraq, Syria, and Kenya have been devastated by Muslim violence. They've been killed. When they talk about Jesus, the Muslims, they are saying that Jesus did not save people from their sins, and that when he comes back, he will do so to institute the one true religion of Muslims, Islam. Finally, he is promoting mass Muslim migration into the West, and guess what that's all about? What's it always about?
Money.
Absolutely. Billions to the Catholic Church, and I am a Catholic, and I am offended. Billions. They have been bought off. And the article concludes with what I think is a great quote. Shepherd who leads his flock towards wolves is not compassionate, he is complicit.